Okay, so we go back and see what we need to do for meditation today. So as I explained to you, meditation is a process. It's a very important process for knowing my real nature. However, I may listen in the normal classes. If I don't meditate on those verses, then it becomes extremely difficult for me to know my nature intrinsically. You know, in the sense that who am I will never be clear if I don't meditate. We are conscious beings, that we all know. There is nothing, nobody needs to teach us that we are conscious beings. But what is this consciousness? Is it permanent? How do I separate it from the body is the entire study. And this permanent nature of Atma and the impermanent nature of the world, body and mind is what we need to discriminate in our meditation. Meditation is thought management. I learn how to handle my mind. This is a very important aspect of our life because till the end of our life, we need to live with the mind. And the mind, which is a product of nature, product of sattva, rajas, and tamas gunas of nature, has its own problems, issues, and so on. But as a soul who is in this body, if I know I am the pure soul and the mind is different from me, if I can create the distance between me and the mind, then the whole life becomes a little more handleable. For normal human beings, it remains always a mystery. Who am I? And then we all get identified with the mind as ourselves. And then we have a very difficult situations in life, and we are unable to know how to face those situations. So it is this process which is called as mind management, which we learn in meditation. And the methodology which I have adopted is using the scriptures to understand this mind, because I believe very strongly that mind can be known only through the scriptures, because unless you know there is a seer Atma which is behind the mind, you can never analyze the mind. Never. It's impossible to analyze the mind. The world of psychology, the world of medicine, they are very, very far from knowing the mind. They have made tremendous progress, no doubt, but the real study lies with the scriptures, because in several advanced textbooks, I have noticed how the ancient rishis have gone and dissected the mind so much. I mean, you'll be amazed as we progress in our spiritual study. One thing which will come to your amazement is how deep is this study of Atma. They dissect what is this ego I, how the ego I is formed. This entire study is called as epistemology. And that is what we will be doing in very advanced texts like Vichara Sagara, or another text which is called as Naishkarmya Siddhi, and so on. I'm just introducing you the concept behind meditation so that it helps you to understand the mind better. Today's meditation is on an Upanishad mantra It is from Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad is a text where the Lord of Death, you can imagine, you're talking about death to the Lord of Death. That means who is responsible for the death principle in this universe. A 7-year-old boy goes to the Lord and says, tell me something. When the body leaves this universe, is there something for the soul who is in the body? He's asking the question to the Lord of Death. Is there something after death for the soul? And then he is asking the same Lord, is there anything beyond merit and demerit, beyond past and future? Is there anything in this life? Is there anything beyond time? Is there anything beyond dharma, adharma, beyond the past, beyond the future? Now that Lord who is responsible for the death, he is saying this particular verse to describe Atma. He says, yes, I will teach you Atma. And what is this Atma is described in this verse. Another Mundak Upanishad is another Upanishad which tells us, another textbook which tells where the student goes and asks his father and says, tell me something by knowing which I can know the entire universe. Is there anything by knowing which I can know this entire universe? And there again, the same mantra, the same verse comes in. And is a very, very popular verse which is used for meditation. And I will just tell you the meaning, and then I will tell you the process, and we can see how we can use this mantra for meditation. Na tatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam. I'm just telling you the Sanskrit verse. Nema vidyatho bhanti kutoyam agnihi tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Here the teacher is trying to tell us the world, the universe of Atma. He says that in that Atma, the sun is not shining. So you can see the significance of this word, na tatra suryo bhati. That means in that Atma, the sun is not shining. Cannot shine means cannot illumine that Atma. Nema vidyato bhanti. That means even chandra tarakam. That means the moon and the stars cannot illumine that Atma. The lightning cannot illumine Atma. The fire principle, Agni principle, cannot illumine Atma. That means you cannot know Atma from these because these are products of Atma and they are not in Atma. Verily, everything shines after him. Tameva bhantam. That means only when the Atma is there, then the whole universe shines. After him, reflecting his glory. That means in Atma, there is no universe. Universe doesn't even exist in Atma. It cannot exist because Atma is the cause of this entire universe. Cause is always before the effect. The whole world is illumined. Tasya bhasa sarvam idham vibhati. That means the whole world is illumined with his light. With the light of the spiritual light, this entire world is lit. That means when I see the sun or the moon or the lightning or the fire or the tube light or the bulb at home, all this is seen, known only by the light of the spiritual light of Atma. The spiritual light is very different from the material light. It exists forever. Spiritual light exists forever. The material light comes and goes in the spiritual light. I am that spiritual light That is how I need to meditate. And I am that light. First of all, I illumine my mind. My mind cannot illumine Atma. Through the mind, the sense organs get lit up. The light in the sense organs belongs to the mind. The sun, moon, and stars, they don't have light in themselves, but they are all borrowed light from Atma. I can exist independently without the universe. That means, as the spiritual light, we can all exist in ourselves without this entire universe. So, all those people who lived in the past, how do they live? They were only bodies, gross bodies. That's all. The bodies have left, but Atma is still alive. So that is why Arjuna was taught in the Bhagavad Gita, don't grieve for those people who have left. Don't grieve for those people who are alive now and who will die later. That was the teaching of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Because as Atma, nobody dies. Universe is an appearance in my light. In my light, in my spiritual light, that is what I am. That is my intrinsic nature. There is a difference between apparent nature and intrinsic nature. Intrinsic nature is something which I cannot give away. It will never leave me. Apparent nature is the body is seen, which is in the waking state. It goes away. In the dream state, I don't see this body at all. In the sleep state, I don't see this body. But I am there in all the three states. I, the pure self, am there. So by meditating on this spiritual light, which is the ultimate light of this entire universe, I learn to separate myself from my body and my mind by the process of neti neti, which we just learned in Atma Bodha. We are trying to implement that theory by practicing this meditation. Let's all sit erect, close our eyes. We become aware of our breath. Breathing goes on automatically without my will. This is a part of the plan of nature to keep this body alive. The air I breathe keeps the physiological functions alive in this body. I am not the inert body. I am pure awareness principle. I am the knowing principle in this body. I am aware of the healthy, unhealthy conditions of the body. When the body is hungry, I am aware. When the body is thirsty, I am aware. I am the light of consciousness which illumines the mind. The mind is behind all five sense organs. Indirectly, I illumine all the sense organs. The sense organs illumine the whole universe. I am the ultimate light. The light of all the lights. Without the light of Atma, there is no universe. I am the pure, formless light of consciousness. I am the spiritual light. I can exist without the body. Without the mind. Without the universe. But the universe cannot exist without my light. I am the Advaitam principle, non-dual. Om. 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 Asato Ma Sádgamaya, Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Gently open your eyes. This mantra, Natatra Suryo Bhati, you can use it for lighting up a lamp, or when you do Aarti at home, you can use this mantra also. Apart from the other Aarti mantras which you already know. In temples, we also find some of the priests, they will chant this mantra during the Aarti time. Basically, it's saying that the small camphor which I'm lighting to show you the Lord is a small light, but then your light is something far superior than this small camphor light. It can illumine the sun, the moon, the stars. What can this what can this camphor light do? You're so big, you're so transcendent. That is the prayer. That is what is the meaning behind this verse. Very, very powerful mantra. Okay, so with that, we come to an end for today's session. I will open up the any questions from anybody?
Mr. Shekhar.
Yeah, Jacqueline.
Thank you. I have one question.
Yeah.
We are at the fifth session, and we have 5 meditation. And does it mean that each and every one of us go with the meditation that suit one the best, and then continue to be there.
Yes. That's correct. You can choose whatever you want, whatever you like. You just take one of that. I'm introducing you different types of meditations. Whatever you feel comfortable with, you can stick on, and then you can carry on. There is no compulsory for any specific meditation. These are all only introductions to how people have been meditating in the past and trying to reach the truth. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions from anybody?
Sekhaji.
Haan, bolo. Why?
You know, you were saying that when when I am hungry, I'm aware of it.
Yes.
So what part of the body that tells you that?
It is not the part of the body. It is the consciousness, the awareness principle in me, the light principle in me, which is aware of the hunger. That means the hunger belongs to the prana. The prana is actually responsible for the hunger. See, when we breathe in, what happens is it digests the food. So when the food gets digested, then you become hungry again.
Oh.
So the knowing, what knows that hunger is consciousness. Yes, that consciousness, we can call that consciousness as Bhagavan. We can call that consciousness as anything. But that is what is in this body, which keeps me, which makes me aware. Every 3 hours, 4 hours, we feel hungry. So how do we become aware? It's because of this consciousness factor.
Then, Sekhaji, this the mind and Atma, are they any way connected?
Yes, the mind and Atma are connected. Mind is only a reflection of Atma. It is it is connected to Atma because without the Atma's light, the mind is not even a mind. For example, when you go to sleep, the mind becomes non-mind because the mind has gone, and then and therefore and you wake up in the morning. What happens is the mind wakes up, and then Atma's light reflects on it. When the Atma's light reflects in the mind, then you come to know, oh, I am Bhavubai. I am alive. I am alive. I am seeing my body. I'm seeing the whole universe. So this is how the whole life comes into play.
So that means the consciousness come in, then you realize yourself.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, remember verse 19, beautiful verse as mentioned before. That's what Jacqueline says. Yes. In this alone lies the essence of Vedanta. Deepak, you're right. This is very, very true. What we have discussed today is the essence of Vedanta. Do I say it loudly to myself or quietly? You can start with loudly chanting, and then you can go slowly, quietly. Everybody may not be able to say this quietly initially. You can say, no harm in saying loudly, but slowly what will happen is you will get, as you practice, you will get used to chanting, saying whatever you want to say quietly in your mind. Curious question is from Shama. The fact that we get up refreshed after a good night's sleep is because we have dropped our mind. Yes, you're right. And be only in the pure consciousness state. Yes, that is very, very true, because all of us, it's like taking a good bath. See, after we take a good bath, we feel very fresh every day morning. That is physically. What happens at night is we go and dip ourselves in our true nature. That is the Ganga. That is the pure water of Ganga. That's what is. There is another stotra which talks about this. Atma is the purity in which we all go and take a bath in the night. And then next day, all the problems of the day, they just get swamped and they get cleaned up. And then every day we feel fresh. As soon as you get up, you feel fresh. It's as if you're starting life completely new. Only thing is, that all the things which we have done till yesterday in this birth, it comes and then we start the process. Now, the day starts, again, we remember all our past and then the day starts. Similarly, death is just a physical separation from the gross body. As soon as you are into a new body, what happens is you take exactly the same ahankara takes a new body. So whatever happens to us at the state of sleep, the only thing is we come back to this same family, universe, location, till the body, gross body is there. But the ahankara never leaves, it takes another body. So Shama, you are right in your question and the answer. Uma says, today's verse that Alta illumines even the sun gives a very uplifting sensation. Yes, you are right. This is a very, very important and a very deep mantra. Whenever I do this Upanishad, you will find the significance of this mantra, very, very powerful mantra. So I hope you enjoy this more when you do the actual verse in the Upanishad. Vijaya says, unless I drop the I-ness and minus vrittis in mind, even I get a good night's sleep. Once I awake, all that comes back. Yes, because I remember it all again, memory faculty. It is not only memory faculty, it is the vasanas. Memory and vasanas are linked up. All the previous impressions, they all are retained in the Karana Shariram. In the Karana Shariram, this impression remains. That is why I just now said that even after this body is gone, our Karana Shariram continues in the next birth also, like it continues in the next day for us. So the impressions are still there, but it becomes almost like a fresh day for all of us, because the mind has rested. When the mind is tired, even during the daytime, you'll feel like going to sleep, because the mind is too tired, either with some situations in life, either we have had a good food, either we have some tamas. That is what is the tamas aspect which is there in the mind. So sattva, rajas and tamas, they keep on going in different proportions during the whole day. So whenever the sattva is very high, when we get up in the morning, the sattvic aspect of our mind is shining. That means we are more knowledge-based as soon as we get up. So we can plan for the day, we can plan for the whole day, what I want to cook, what I want to do, what I want to go, where I want to go. You'll find that even after you get up from sleep in the afternoon. So all the things which you need to do and which have been postponing it, you try to do it whenever you are in the sattvic mode, because you will feel like doing it and you make a plan to do it, it becomes, and you will execute the plan. Would you recommend that during waking state we use our understanding of the knowledge of Atma for a cognition and navigate ourselves in the material world, and complement this with meditation? It's good to do that, but it's difficult to do what you are saying. See, when in the waking state, our mind is clouded with the perceptions of the world. That is the reason why we are not able to think too much about Atma in our waking state, compared to the meditation state. You see, there is two different states, because in the state of meditation, you're excluding the entire universe. You close your eyes, 60–70% of the perceptions are gone. So what happens is the perceptual mind, the ahankara mind, which is open to all the sense organs, that is shut. When that is shut, then it is easy to meditate on Atma. The light of consciousness, Om, meditation, all that is easier when you sit and think of Atma's words, and it's easier. But when our sense organs and the mind both are open, what happens is the beam of light from the mind goes to the entire world. We are able to perceive the whole world, and our Atma gets hidden. But
What
if
I
you
meant,
can't, yeah, go ahead, Shama, you were saying?
sorry, what I meant is in our normal Vyavaharika life or the transactions,
Yes.
the fact that we are gaining knowledge more and more about the Atman, that actually helps to navigate it, make it much easier, because we've actually seeing the world in a very different light altogether.
Yes,
That
if you can do that,
so
is
that
so,
knowledge,
yes,
that knowledge,
that is superb.
yeah, that because it just makes it simpler rather than just to do it in a totally materialistic methodology, because there the understanding is very complicated. You know, you give higher values to things which are probably really immaterial, you know, so that way the understanding, that's what I mean.
Yes, you're right. If you can, you know, what happens then in your, what happens in your visualization is, you have already got a transformed mind. That is a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
That means all the knowledge of Atma has sunk so deep in your consciousness, you're able to see the world from a totally different angle. That helps you to face all situations extremely well. Very well, because you see, then you're not caught up in the agitations in the mind. You're very clear. I am seeing what I need to do is very, very clear in your mind, because your sattvic nature of the mind has grown from 30% to 60%.
Thank you.
And then when that happens, you can know for yourself that I have got the benefit of the knowledge of Atma.
Thank you.
This is a very, very great achievement. If you're able to do it, it's a tremendous achievement in life. Okay, Vijay is asking another question. Ego and Karana Sharira, are they the same? Ego is something which comes every day as soon as the mind wakes up in the morning. As soon as we wake up, it's called as the ego I. It is a reflection of consciousness in the mind. This can happen in the gross body, then it is called as the ego I. It can also happen with the subtle body, which is the mind. That reflection, when it is in the gross body, then technically it is called as Vishwa. When the same thing happens in the dream state, it is called as Taijasa. Because you are doing Vivek Chodamani, I'm explaining to you a little bit deeper. The same thing in the causal body, that ego I, the name given in the causal body, when it gets reflected with the knowledge that I don't know anything. That is what is the Karana Shariram. Karana Shariram is with the Vritti. In advanced textbooks, they say that the normal perceptual vrittis, that means the thoughts, they are called as ahamkara, ego I. Now, when the Karana Shariram vritti is called as I don't know anything. I don't know myself. I don't know the universe. That is a vritti. It's a thought which happens in the Karana Shariram. The Karana Shariram also has a vritti like the subtle body. The subtle body has a vritti of, vrittis can be of anger, emotions, you know, all the 6 vrittis, all the different emotions which we have, raga, dvesha, attachments. These are all the vrittis of the ego I in the gross body, in the gross state. So your answer to the question, ego and Karana Shariram, are they the same? Ego is something which can be there in all the 3 Sharirams, in the gross, subtle, and the causal bodies. What actually is that which carries forward to the next birth? The next birth is what goes on is the subtle impressions. That means what carries on is the punya papa. Punya means all the good things which you have done. There are certain impressions which you are supposed to get. That means you get certain benefits of all the good actions. Suppose you have taught somebody meditation. Suppose you have taught somebody something. You have helped your mother. You have helped your father. These are all, again, impressions which are there in the Karana Sharira. They will bring fruit. Sometimes the fruit comes in this birth. All the fruits cannot come in one birth. Whatever fruit is carried to the next birth is the sanchita which gets fructified in the next birth. So what actually is carried forward is only the punyam papam from this birth. Whatever needs to be exhausted, we exhaust. Till the last breath, we exhaust whatever we need to do in this body. Whatever we cannot exhaust, we carry into the next birth. Karana Sharira is a part of Traya Shariram and ego is avidya, which are named different at different Sharirams. Okay, this is a very a subtle point. It's a good point. What you're saying is it avidya, this ego I? In certain texts, at a higher level, what you're saying is correct. Ego I is ignorance. Any ego, whenever it rises, is basically avidya. Avidya means it doesn't know itself, and it is a state of ignorance. It can be this. Your question and answer is at a very, very advanced level. You are at an advanced level. The ego I in all the 33 sharirams is avidya, is ignorance. And that is why, together with these three shariram, together with the three avidyas, what we say is mula avidya, which is the ultimate ignorance, because of which this entire ego I comes into play. I don't know my real nature of Atma as independently existing from the three sharirams, from the three bodies. If I come to know and I can claim that in this birth, then this avidya goes away. This ignorance goes away. And that is our attempt of all these studies which we are doing. And once we are able to do this successfully with 100% at a subconscious level, then we are free from sorrow, not only in this birth, but we are free of sorrow from the rest of our whole life. We don't have sorrow in life till this avidya. Once avidya is gone, you are right in this, whatever you have said here, but this has to be understood at a very high level of the three bodies. Any other questions?
Shikaji,
Bolo.
You were saying that when we see the suffering of our loved ones,
Yes.
so how to avoid the suffering of the loved ones?
See, how to avoid the suffering of the people around us is only by consoling them, by giving them, our best compassion, by telling them we are there for you, we will take care of you, and so on. So that is how you you give compassion. You take care of the people. You tell them God will take care of you. Don't worry. These are the different ways we can show our compassion to people who are suffering. Because the way we can tell them is we need to explain to them that all of us belong to one God, and that God will take care of you. Don't worry. So that is very important as to how to console other people.
But I mean, we got nothing to do with the attachment, right, with this one.
No, attachment is different. You see, attachment is that you depend on them. Showing compassion doesn't mean you're attached to them. You see, we are all human beings. We must show our emotions when people are suffering. So that is not attachment. That is our duty. We take care of them. We give them company. We give them consoling words. We try to bring their agitations in their mind as much as possible.
So we help them to the best of what we can.
Yes, we do our best. You see, there are certain situations in all our life which are called as helpless situations. In helpless situations, the only solution is prayer. To the best of our ability, yes, I will do my duty. I will do whatever I can do physically, with money, with emotions, with whatever I can do. So, but there are certain situations in every one of our lives, because human birth is a mixture of sorrow and happiness. There is no sorrow all the time. There is no happiness all the time.
Okay, thank you, Sekharji.
Vijaya, I will try to unmute you. Let me see if I can unmute you.
I think I am. You've unmuted me, Shekharji.
Okay. Yeah. Can you expand what you want?
Yeah. The thing what I wanted to say is actually I see when you say Karana Sharira, it's actually the seed which actually gives me the reason for to come back.
Yes.
Right. And then what we also said this, the ego is that the first ever modification of that Maya or Avidya. That's what we always say. So
Yes.
my only question was, see, the thing is, okay, Papa Punya is the resulted action, which is what going to carry me forward because I use this Kartutva, Bhoktutva, so I am going to reborn to exhaust those. That also I've understood it.
Yes.
But my question is, see, we know that Atma doesn't die, but
yes.
Atma, when it is reborn, it is born into a body for which it needs to exhaust that Papa Punya, right?
Okay.
Prarabdha, Sanchita, or Agami, whatever you call it as. So when it is when it is going to exhaust, it's going to be born. That means it already has a knowledge of what is it that needs pending for me, and I need to be born for that, right? So that I carry forward to be brought down later.
Okay, the main thing which you should understand is Atma is not born.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, but Atma is ever there. So correct. I need to find out what is that principle which is always there, number one. Number two, once I know that principle, then the second thing we should do is to say that whatever is the experiences I have in the waking state is mithya.
Okay.
Unless you do that, you will be troubled by the ego I. Okay. You have to learn to say that in the seat of meditation, or after I have learned the knowledge, after I have understood Atma, Atma is me. I am never born. What is born is the mind and the body. The mind and body has prarabdha. The mind and body, when the prarabdha ends, it will go away. But I, the Atma, will remain exactly the way I am today. Without the body and mind, I can still survive. Okay. I am still there. This is a higher nature of mind. So from a lower nature, when you look at it from our body point of view, you have to look at this Atma as a higher nature, Paramarthika Satyam. Yeah. When you look at it from a Paramarthika Satyam, from the soul angle, from the Atma angle, you have to look at the entire waking and the waking body and the dream experiences, all this prarabdha, all whatever we are discussing. This entire Shastra itself, Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, Bhavana, itself is not there in Atma.
Okay.
That is why we have to train our mind from a triangular format to a binary format as Atma Anatma. We have to learn to say, I am Atma, and drop the entire Anatma, including the scriptures, including Ishvara, including Jiva, including Jagat.
Okay.
All the three put together is called as Anatma. Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara becomes Anatma, I am Atma. This is a new format of thinking. It's a new format of learning after I have learned the scriptures. In this, there is no prarabdha karma at all, because according to this new format of thinking, the first birth itself is not there. I'm ever birthless, ajaha. Ajo nityam shashvato puranam. Bhagavad Gita says, najayate mriyate va kadachit. All that we must bring it to the mind.
Sure.
I'm never born as Atma, because we only get confused when I am asking the question with reference to this particular body. Once the body identification is gone, everything becomes very clear. The Shastra is so clear. As you go deeper and your confusions of this mind, ego, prarabdha, sanchita, karana, shariya, all this will get cleared as you study further and further slightly advanced texts. In the advanced texts, these points are brought out brilliantly. Brilliantly. I mean, I can't tell you how, but when you attend the next Wednesday's class, you will see how I'm going to talk about this particular aspect of higher text, higher level of learning. So if it is possible, you can attend the next week when I'll be starting the Wednesday class, where I'll be starting new summaries of classes, of new texts.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Shekharji.
Thank you. Okay, with that, we'll close the session. I'm still glad there are 19 of us still logged on. Thank you very much to everybody, and good night. And we'll see you next week or next Saturday. But those of you who are interested to know a little bit more about advanced texts, I'm going to introduce some advanced text on Wednesday evening. The same log on you can use for the class. Same Zoom log on. For those of you who want to know what are the other texts, it's a new series of talks which I'm starting on Wednesday. It will go on for about maybe 8 or 10 sessions, I think. I'll be talking about different texts of Shankaracharya and other people who have realized their Atma. It's on Wednesday evening at 6:30 to 8:30. It's if you're free, you can do it, or if you're not free, you can just write to us, write to Jacqueline. She will send you videos of these classes. Thank you. Good night.